Hi everyone, today we're going to go over another terrible case. New Year's Eve turned into a nightmare. Statistics show that the nature of a crime is often influenced by the time of day it happens. For example, during daylight hours, crimes like economic fraud, robberies, and thefts are more frequent, while in the evening, domestic violence cases spike. However, at night, when the streets are dark and almost empty, criminals become harder to spot, and the most violent acts of evil take place. We all know that walking alone at night, especially for women, is dangerous. But sometimes there's no other choice. That's exactly what happened to a young British woman named Rachel Moran on New Year's Eve. She needed to get home from visiting her parents, which was only about a mile away along a path she took every day. But this time, Rachel never made it home, disappearing just 150 feet from her destination. For a month, searches were carried out, with hope that the missing girl was still alive. But the truth, when it came to light, left all of Ireland in shock. Who was Rachel Moran? Rachel Moran was born on January 17, 1981, in the small town of English Call on the island of Ireland. She was the youngest of 4 children, born to Wanda and Ray Moran, and grew up very close to her 2 older sisters and brother. Rachel had a passion for dancing from a young age, and her parents, seeing her talent, enrolled her in ballet classes, which she attended for many years. She even considered a future in dance, possibly as a ballerina or choreographer. However, as Rachel grew older, her interests started to shift. She was an excellent student and was drawn to the exact sciences. After finishing school, she enrolled in a prestigious college to study management information systems. After 2 years, Rachel realized she had made a mistake in choosing her profession. Her creative side began to take over, and she decided to return to her passion for choreography, while also pursuing higher education part-time. During this time, she met Mark, a young man just a year older than her. They quickly became close friends, and soon that friendship blossomed into romance. About 6 months after they started dating, the couple decided to move in together, renting a cozy apartment in a new residential complex just a mile from Rachel's parents' house. She visited them almost daily. In the fall of 2002, Rachel started working at a local bakery, specializing in cake decoration. She fell in love with the work and even considered getting a second degree in culinary arts. Rachel had always loved cooking, and it was one of her hobbies. Around the same time, she and Mark adopted 2 cats from a local animal shelter. They adored these cats and treated them like family, never leaving them alone for long and ensuring they were well cared for. A New Year's Eve argument. As New Year 2003 approached, everyone around was busy preparing for the holiday. Rachel had a lot of work to do, fulfilling orders at the bakery for the holidays. She and Mark had planned to visit both their families, but they didn't want to leave their cats home alone all night, especially since one of them was sick and needed extra care. The couple had already agreed on their New Year's plans. They would spend some time together at home first, then Mark would visit his parents, and Rachel would stop by her parents' place before midnight and stay there until morning. Mark was supposed to return to their apartment shortly after midnight to check on the cats. Things went according to plan at first. The couple had a romantic dinner at home, enjoyed a glass of champagne, and then Mark left to visit his family. Rachel's brother came to pick her up, and they spent some time together at a bar before heading to her parents' house around 11 p.m. There they were greeted by her parents and sister, who were waiting for them at the holiday table. At around 1 a.m., Rachel tried calling Mark on the home phone, but he didn't answer. After several failed attempts, she called his mobile. When he finally answered, he explained that a friend had invited him to a party and he couldn't say no. Furious, Rachel reminded him they had agreed that someone needed to be home to take care of the cats, especially since one was unwell. They had promised not to leave the animals alone overnight. After a brief argument, Mark promised he would return by 6 a.m., assuring her that nothing bad would happen in those few hours. However, Rachel was angry and insisted he should have come home sooner. Upset, Rachel decided to leave her parents' house, even though it was after midnight, and walking alone on the street seemed dangerous. Her mother, Wanda, overheard the argument and tried to talk her daughter out of leaving, assuring her that the cats would be fine for a few more hours. But Rachel was determined and started getting ready to leave. Her father and brother, who had already gone to bed after drinking, were in no state to accompany her. And despite her mother's protests, Rachel left the house around 1 a.m. She promised her mother she would call as soon as she got home. The walk should have taken no more than 15 minutes, but an hour passed and Rachel still hadn't called. She walked alone on the deserted street. Once close enough, he attacked her, dragging her to a secluded spot where he committed the brutal crime. Following the assault, Michael Little attempted to cover his tracks by hiding Rachel's body in his trash chute. His calm demeanor during the police search suggested he believed he could get away with it, but the overwhelming evidence led to his arrest. During the trial, the prosecution presented a strong case, showing the forensic evidence that connected him to the crime scene, as well as his erratic behavior leading up to Rachel's disappearance. Witnesses testified about his previous criminal history and his obsessive behavior. Despite his various attempts to shift blame and offer false accounts, the jury saw through his lies. In the end, Michael Little was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Rachel Moran's family, devastated by the loss, found some measure of closure, knowing that justice had been served. The tragic case, however, serves as a haunting reminder of the dangers that can lurk in the most unexpected moments and how one night of celebration turned into a family's nightmare. There are so many horrifying scenes on the pop-up video you don't want to miss.